Just came back from the East Coast trip 2 days ago. We left California 2 weeks ago. I flew to Las Vegas to meet Peggy after the convention. And from Las Vegas, we flew on to Virginia, Richmond. Never been to Richmond before, or Virginia. Been in America for over 50 years, so the first time in Virginia, Richmond. Beautiful country, really beautiful. So we flew to Richmond and going to start the tour the day after. I think we got there on Friday, 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, the same night I got stomachache, food poisoning. So we had to stay an extra night in Richmond for me to recover. But our first Civil War battlefield was Cold Harbor. Definitely top two on my bucket list after Franklin and then Tatum. So just right outside of Richmond, maybe 5 to 10 minutes from the hotel. Did a car rental and went on to Richmond to Cold Harbor. Somewhere over here because it was a Civil War battlefield. So now basically it's just a visitor center, the National Park Service. Yeah, this is Cold Harbor. So with the Battle of Cold Harbor, I posted some pictures. Actually, there are two Cold Harbor, but the Civil War occurred at the old Cold Harbor. Sorry, at the new Cold Harbor. So, and then we just went back to the hotel. We come from the stomachache, Richmond. Then we drove up north. The north end of the river is around here. There are a lot of Civil War battles leading on to Richmond. I was going to stop, but I was not feeling good, and Peggy had to drive, so we skipped that. That's okay. And on we go. Richmond. I mentioned, the drive's not too difficult, but it was hot, hot, hot. Almost 98 degrees the 2 weeks we were there. Then we went on to Spotsylvania Courthouse, another major, sad Civil War battlefield. And we went there. Then the visitor center's closed, probably budget cut back, but that's fine. We met under the Civil War buff over there, taking selfies. So yeah, so we chit-chatted about the Civil War, Antietam, Gettysburg, and so on, Fredericksburg, Chancellorsville, and then from Spotsylvania Courthouse, we just drove. Oh yeah, oh it's over here. Fine. Then all these are narrow roads, and then we drove on to Chancellorsville, which is right here. So these are all small roads, but we went here, Chancellorsville. They do have a nice visitor center with bathrooms and stuff. Nice cold air conditioning, taxpayers' money. They even have a movie that we watched, a video. Since I know about the battle, but Peggy watched the video, so help her to understand it a bit more. That's great. The museum, pretty decent. And then from here, we drove to Chancellorsville. We drove on to Fredericksburg. And the Wilderness Battlefield, unfortunately, we did not have a chance to go. Did it out, but it's fine. Yeah, right here, the Wilderness Battlefield. But fine. Chancellorsville is when Robert E. Lee spread out his army for Stonewall Jackson and defeated the Union Army of the Potomac. And actually that emboldened him to attack Gettysburg. into Pennsylvania. So we drove from here to Fredericksburg. Fredericksburg was also a big Union loss. I don't know what's the battlefield somewhere here. What's Fredericksburg here? Now, because as I said, this is almost 250 years ago, so now it's all commercialized, but they try to retain some of the old battlefield. They also have a visitor center here, which is quite nice. Also. I mean, it's okay, tiny compared to Chancellorsville. Not really a visitor center. It's close also, but you cut back. But it was more like a right here. So it was more like a gift shop. That's fine. I purchased some stuff also. Yeah, one of the Civil War National Geographic Society maps. I cut it up from my daughter's junior high project, but now I mentioned to buy one, so it's good. And then after Fredericksburg, we went to have fried chicken, wings, which is okay. Good thing I did not get food poisoning again. And then from Fredericksburg, we drove on to Manassas, right at the border of Virginia and Maryland. Where is Manassas? Actually, outside Washington, D.C. So we went here, and this battlefield, we spent the night here. And it was afterwards we find out that our friend lived right behind the battlefield, but it's too late, So the next day we visited Manassas battlefield. It's called Bull Run, and Manassas is the same thing. Actually, there are two battles here. I think one in 81, another one September 82. And this is the first battle of the Civil War. And both sides thought the battles real short, just at one time affair. But actually, it turned out to 4 long years. And Manassas is interesting because it happened on Sunday, so all the people from Washington, D.C., they, came out with wagons and stuff. And they're hoping to see the battle. And then it turned out to be a rout for the Union, and everybody, people, horses, and whatever, have a big traffic jam, and they ran all the way back to Washington, D.C. Fine. And then from Manassas, where's Manassas? Yeah. Then we enter Maryland. I mean, just a little part of Maryland. Then we enter into Pennsylvania. West Pennsylvania. We from Manassas, we here we go on to into Pennsylvania here, and then of course we go to Gettysburg. Actually, Peggy only wanted to see Gettysburg, but I convinced her to see the 6 additional battlefields. So actually, we spent 4 nights over here, more than enough. But it's a huge, battlefield, and it's really, really well maintained. And good use of taxpayers' money, no complaints. And actually, the business center is funded by a foundation trust, which is even better, I think. And Gettysburg, we just I see. And then the day before we were supposed to leave Gettysburg, of course, we go on to Antietam, one of my top 3 on my bucket list, the Civil War. So Antietam is back in Maryland. So Peggy drove, and back into Maryland, a little bit to the southwest, next to the South Mountain. I was going to visit this place also. There are 3 gaps that have got the Battle of South Mountain, but no time, too hot, almost like 98 degrees again. It was really, really hot. And we go to Antietam. And Antietam actually is a creek, so it's outside the city of Sharpsburg. So actually, you Google Antietam City, you won't find it. So, but they call it Antietam. The Southerners call it the Battle of Sharpsburg, but most people refer to the Antietam, Battle of Antietam. And of course, was it the Burnside Bridge and the Sunken Row, the Dunkirk Church, the cornfields, and all those stuff. Most of the stuff are gone, but Burnside Bridge is still there. And Antietam's nice. And then I was supposed to visit Harper's Ferry, but no time. But that's okay. Then we drove back to from Antietam Battlefield. We here we drove back to Gettysburg, and um, and we spent the last night here, and then from Gettysburg the next day we drove into Washington D.C. Terrible, terrible, terrible traffic, and then we did the car rental at the Ronald Reagan Airport. We turned the rental car. Oh, we stopped at Arlington on the way to the Ronald Reagan Airport, and we saw the 20 unknown soldier, and etc. and so on. We did car rental. Then to and Peggy always wanted to see the Church of the Gods, and Peggy thought it's a show, marching bands and so on. Actually, in America, it's different. It's a solemn, occasion. So, but yeah. And from after we returned the car rental, we took Uber. It's only 5 minutes to the National Mall, and our hotel is right over here behind the Air and Space Museum, and McDonald's right here. So very nice. We had McDonald's for breakfast twice, and we spent 5 nights in Washington D.C. Again, too hot. And then we Uber back to Ronald Reagan Airport and flew back to home to California. And Peggy wanted to see the two flags at the White House. Okay, so yeah, here you have to walk. Okay, so as you know, I was at the White House maybe 50 years ago, but now you need to have a background check before you can go visit the White House. But Peggy didn't want the picture, but everything here is blocked off, so we walk and walk and walk from here all the way to here, and then walk behind, and then there's a gate, a whole bunch of stupid tourists, and took some pictures, so yeah. And especially the guy died, some senator, so the flag was a half mast, so basically nothing, so couldn't see much at all, but anyway. And then Peggy wanted to see, we spent almost 6 nights. 5 days here. We spent 5 nights. So Peggy visited the National Gallery of Art, and we went to Lincoln Memorial. Didn't go in because I've been there 50 years ago. Took pictures, but I did visit. We visited the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. I was there like 30 years ago, or maybe sooner. I forgot. And I traced the name off the wall just for the heck of it. And the pool, yeah, to start the pool, Trump spent money to fix it up, make it blue, but some assholes, mess it up. So now it's covered with like a pool cover. You can see nothing. Stupid, really, really stupid. And I also visited the Smithsonian Museum of American History, but it was I think it's on the other side of the mall. Yeah, all the museums. Is it this one? Yeah, we went here too. Saw the dinosaurs and stuff. I think the American History Museum. Yeah, so we went to American History Museum, and see the original Star Spangled Banner. Again, I was here not 50 years ago. At that time, it's not, uncased. It's just hanging, but now they built a special room for it to preserve the flag. So it's nice. And I also took Peggy to see the National Archives. I wherever is it this one? Where's the National Archives? I think so. And space should be here. This one. It's probably somewhere here. So took Becky to see the Declaration of Independence completely faded out. You can see nothing, but we see the 4 pages or 5 pages of the original Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and yeah. So the National Archive. Oh right, yeah, the National Archives. Yeah, that was really really nice. So I enjoyed that. They have a nice gift shop, bought a lot of stuff. So and yeah, and I think that's basically all we did. And we went to the Air and Space Museum the day before we were supposed to leave on Tuesday. And I was again here 50 years ago when they first went to the moon. They have the lunar lander, which they still have, and but they have the Spirit of St. Louis that is gone before they have it in the lobby. Charles Lindbergh, the first airplane that crossed the Atlantic Ocean. I understand now they have a second museum outside Washington, D.C., and our friend lives right there between Antietam, not Antietam, between Manassas and the second new addition to the Air and Space Museum outside Washington, D.C. And then, as I said, we were back to Ronald Reagan Airport, only 5 minutes away, 10, and then we came home. And to finish this video, we're supposed to depart about 5 p.m., arrive in San Jose like 11 p.m., transferring in Chicago Midway or Midland, you know. And unfortunately, Southwest last Tuesday have a big cancellation problem because of weather, you know, and all the kind of stuff, ground stoppage. So we were stuck at the airport for 12 hours. We did not depart until after 1 a.m. We got rerouted 3 times. The first time we got rerouted instead of to Chicago, via Chicago, we were rerouted from Washington to I forgot where the reroute was to Oklahoma City, and then to Phoenix, and then back to Oakland. For guests I don't say, I said Oakland is viable for us also, and that was also canceled. And then we got rerouted finally from Ronald Reagan Airport, D.C., to to Dallas, not Dallas Fort Worth, but Dallas Love Field, and then from there we flew back to San Francisco. We even have to take out our luggage, recheck it, and all this kind of BS stuff. Ah, it's just incredible. But finally, we make it home on Wednesday. You know, gee, you know, it's too much. But anyway, but the trip was good. You know, I did manage to see all my battlefields on the eastern coast. You know, I would say 90% of them. Of course, there are tons more, but it's okay. And Washington D.C., both Peggy and I, some of them Peggy saw the first time, but for me, you know, to revisit, that's fine. So it's good, really, really good trip. Yeah. Okay, that's it.